The hidden truth science has discovered. What if everything you've been told about your origins is a carefully constructed fiction? A narrative so deeply embedded in our collective consciousness that questioning it feels almost forbidden. You've been taught that your DNA is the product of billions of years of evolution on Earth, a purely biological code that makes you human. But what if I told you that hidden within the spiraling strands of your genetic makeup lies something that defies conventional science? Something that has left researchers in classified laboratories questioning the very foundation of human existence. In 2003, when the Human Genome Project completed its mapping of our genetic code, scientists expected to find approximately 100,000 genes based on the complexity of human beings. Instead, they found just over 20,000, fewer than many simpler organisms. This discrepancy wasn't publicized widely. Why? Because it opened the door to questions that mainstream science wasn't prepared to answer. Consider this. 97% of human DNA was initially labeled junk DNA, non-coding sequences with no apparent purpose. Yet this so-called junk contains mathematical patterns that mirror advanced computer coding languages. Patterns so sophisticated that when Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA structure, examined them, he proposed his theory of directed panspermia, suggesting our genetic code may have been seeded here from elsewhere in the cosmos. Did you know that human DNA contains over 145,000 fragments of ancient viral sequences that have no evolutionary explanation for their presence? Or that certain sequences in our genome activate when exposed to specific cosmic radiation frequencies? These are documented findings buried in scientific journals, rarely discussed in public forums. The mystery deepens when we examine the sudden appearance of modern humans in the fossil record, what paleontologists call the missing link. How did Homo sapiens emerge with a 40% increase in brain capacity virtually overnight in evolutionary terms? The conventional answers feel increasingly inadequate when examined closely. In remote monasteries of Tibet, ancient texts speak of sky ancestors who gifted humanity with the divine code of life. Indigenous cultures across continents share strikingly similar stories of star beings who altered human genetics in the distant past. Coincidence? Or echoes of a truth too paradigm-shattering to acknowledge? Tonight, we venture beyond the boundaries of accepted science into territory where genetics, archaeology, and ancient wisdom converge to tell a different story of human origins. One that suggests your DNA contains something profoundly non-human. Something that connects you to the cosmos in ways modern science is only beginning to comprehend. What you're about to hear challenges everything you think you know about who and what you really are. The evidence has been hidden in plain sight, scattered across disciplines, waiting for someone to connect the dots. Are you ready to question your origins? Before we dive deeper into this rabbit hole, if you're already finding this information intriguing, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and like this video. This helps others discover this hidden knowledge and signals to me that you want more content that challenges conventional narratives. Let's begin with what mainstream science does acknowledge about human DNA. Our genetic code consists of approximately 3 billion base pairs, arranged in 23 pairs of chromosomes. But here's where things get strange. Human chromosome 2 appears to be the result of a fusion of two chromosomes that remain separate in all other primates. This fusion, which supposedly occurred 1 to 2 million years ago, has never been adequately explained by evolutionary biologists. Dr. Francis Collins, former director of the Human Genome Project, wrote in his lesser-known papers that this fusion event represents an unprecedented genetic event with no clear evolutionary advantage. Some researchers in the field have privately suggested this fusion bears hallmarks of genetic engineering rather than natural evolution. Even more compelling is the work of Dr. Vsevolod Makiv at the Vavilov Institute of General Genetics, whose research team discovered what they termed algorithmic patterns in non-coding DNA sequences. These patterns contain mathematical properties similar to error-correcting codes used in advanced computing, codes that protect against data corruption. Why would naturally evolved DNA contain sophisticated error correction algorithms that mirror those created by human intelligence? The plot thickens when we examine mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down exclusively from mother to child. In 1987, scientists analyzed mtDNA from 147 people across 5 geographic populations and made a stunning discovery. All modern humans appear to descend from a single woman who lived approximately 150,000 to 200,000 years ago, scientifically termed mitochondrial Eve. But what's rarely discussed is the evidence suggesting that this genetic bottleneck appears to have been artificially induced rather than resulting from natural selection. Ancient Sumerian clay tablets, dating back 6,000 years, contain detailed accounts of the Anunnaki, beings who allegedly came from another world and genetically modified primitive hominids to create modern humans as a worker species. These texts describe genetic manipulation procedures with surprising technical accuracy thousands of years before modern genetics was established. Interestingly, geneticists have identified over 40 genes unique to humans that appear to have no evolutionary precursors. They simply appeared in our genome. These include genes responsible for advanced brain function, language processing, and abstract thinking. Dr. Eugene McCarthy, a renowned geneticist, has suggested these genes represent a signature of intervention in human development. Perhaps most compelling is the discovery of what geneticists call ultra-conserved elements in human DNA, sequences that have remained unchanged for over 300 million years across diverse species. These elements defy evolutionary principles, which would expect significant mutations over such vast time periods. Some researchers have proposed these sequences serve as a kind of genetic control system of non-terrestrial origin. If you're still with me and finding this information as mind-blowing as I did when I first discovered it, this is another perfect moment to hit that subscribe button and like this video. I release new content exploring these hidden truths every week, and your support ensures this knowledge continues to spread. Now let's examine the mysterious wake-up genes in human DNA. These are dormant genetic sequences that activate during specific consciousness states or when exposed to certain electromagnetic frequencies. The most famous is the so-called God gene, or VMAT2, which predisposes humans to spiritual experiences. But less known are the recently discovered dormant potential sequences that appear to be gradually activating across the human population as we enter higher energy regions of the galaxy, a phenomenon documented by Russian geneticist Dr. Pyotr Gorjajev. The Human Genome Project also discovered something called jumping genes or transposons, genetic elements that can change position within the genome. These comprise nearly half of our genetic material and behave remarkably like sophisticated biological software. Dr. Barbara McClintock, who won a Nobel Prize for discovering transposons, noted in her later unpublished works that these elements appeared to be awaiting activation by an external signal. Ancient cultures worldwide share remarkably similar accounts of human creation through genetic intervention by advanced beings. From the Dogon tribe of Mali, who possessed advanced astronomical knowledge of the Sirius star system centuries before modern telescopes, to the Aboriginal Australians' Wandjina sky beings who made people by mixing their own essence with Earth, these stories contain consistent elements suggesting a shared experience rather than coincidental mythology. In 2017, a team of researchers at Kazakhstan's National Center for Biotechnology made a discovery they were initially hesitant to publish. They identified what they called extraterrestrial functional patterns in human DNA, sequences that appeared to serve no evolutionary purpose but contain mathematical ratios matching those found in deep space signals. Their paper was eventually published in the Journal of Theoretical Biology, but received little attention outside specialized circles. Even more astonishing is the work of linguist Dr. Alexei Kassian, who analyzed the structure of non-coding DNA sequences and found they follow linguistic patterns similar to those in human languages. This suggests our DNA may literally contain encoded messages, a discovery that aligns with what ancient texts have claimed for millennia. The implications become even more profound when we consider quantum biology, the emerging field studying quantum mechanical phenomena in biological systems. Recent experiments have demonstrated that DNA can be influenced by human consciousness and intention, suggesting a two-way relationship between our genetic code and our awareness. This hints at the possibility that our DNA may be part of a cosmic information network, receiving and transmitting data beyond our current scientific understanding. Consider the mysterious Bosnian pyramid complex, carbon dated to be over 30,000 years old, which emits a focused beam of electromagnetic energy precisely at 28 kDa, a frequency shown in laboratory studies to repair damaged DNA and enhance cognitive function. Similar energy frequencies have been measured at ancient sites worldwide, from Stonehenge to the Great Pyramid of Giza. What if these structures were built to activate dormant potentials in human DNA? The ancient Vedic texts of India describe humanity's current era as Kali Yuga, a time when humans have forgotten their cosmic origins and divine potential. These texts prophesy an awakening period when dormant DNA activates, restoring abilities long lost to humanity. Remarkably similar predictions appear in Hopi, Mayan, and Egyptian prophecies. In 2003, a groundbreaking study at the HeartMath Institute demonstrated that human DNA physically changes its shape according to the emotions and consciousness of its host. Positive emotions like love and gratitude cause DNA strands to relax and extend, activating many previously dormant genetic codes. Conversely, fear and stress cause DNA to contract, deactivating many codes. This suggests our genetic expression is far more fluid and consciousness-dependent than conventional science acknowledges. This is the perfect moment to pause and reflect on what we've covered so far. If you're resonating with this information and want to continue this journey of discovery with me, please take a second to subscribe and like this video. Your engagement helps counter the algorithms that often suppress this type of content. Now let's explore perhaps the most compelling evidence that human DNA contains non-human elements. The work of Dr. Sam Chang, who led a group of researchers in the Human Genome Project focusing specifically on non-coding sequences. His team made a shocking discovery. Portions of human DNA appeared to be assembled in a way that reflected advanced mathematical concepts, suggesting that they were engineered rather than evolved. Even more startling was their finding that these sequences contained what appeared to be a form of syntax, a set of rules that resembled a language. When they attempted to decode this syntax using computing systems, they discovered patterns that matched no known evolutionary process, but bore striking similarities to structured communication systems. Dr. Chang's controversial conclusion, which led to his work being largely suppressed, was that non-human intervention was the most logical explanation for these findings. Shortly after reaching this conclusion, funding for his specific research was discontinued, and much of his work remains unpublished in mainstream scientific journals. The mystery deepens when we examine the sudden emergence of Cro-Magnon humans approximately 40,000 years ago. These anatomically modern humans appeared with no clear evolutionary predecessors, possessing significantly larger brains, refined facial features, and advanced cognitive abilities that enabled the sudden explosion of sophisticated cave art, music, and tool-making. Conventional evolution cannot adequately explain this quantum leap in human development. Ancient texts worldwide describe a time when gods or advanced beings walked among humans, sharing knowledge, and, in many accounts, manipulating human genetics. The Sumerian Enuma Elish, the Hindu Mahabharata, the Popol Vuh of the Maya, and countless other ancient texts contain detailed accounts of genetic manipulation to create modern humans. These stories were long dismissed as myth, but genetic discoveries increasingly suggest they may contain kernels of historical truth. In 2014, geneticists at the University of California identified over 200 genes in humans that appear to have been imported horizontally from other species, a process extremely rare in complex organisms, but common in genetic engineering. These genes have no evolutionary pathway and appear to have been inserted into the human genome. The official explanation is that viruses must have transferred these genes, but this hypothesis fails to explain the precision and beneficial nature of these insertions. Perhaps most compelling is the discovery of a gene called ARC, which behaves like a virus, but is essential for cognitive function and memory formation in humans. This gene appears to have been inserted into mammalian DNA by an external source and plays a crucial role in human consciousness. As neuroscientist Dr. Jason Shepard noted, it's almost as if the mammalian brain evolved to capture a virus and use it for its own purposes. The implications of these discoveries are profound. If human DNA contains elements of non-human origin, whether extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or from advanced civilizations predating recorded history, It fundamentally changes our understanding of who and what we are. It suggests that humanity may be part of a grand cosmic experiment or seeding program. It implies that our potential far exceeds our current expression, with dormant DNA awaiting activation. And perhaps most significantly, it connects us to a broader cosmic family, suggesting we are not alone in the universe, but are, in fact, genetic relatives to intelligent life beyond Earth. This perspective is actually not new but very ancient. Indigenous wisdom traditions worldwide have maintained for millennia that humans are star people with a cosmic heritage. The Hopi speak of emerging from the Sipapu, navel, in the Grand Canyon, arriving from another world. The Dogon tribe possesses knowledge of the Sirius star system that predates modern astronomy by thousands of years. Aboriginal Australians describe themselves as descendants of the Wandjina, creator beings who came from the Milky Way. What if these aren't merely creation myths but preserved accounts of actual events, genetic interventions that shaped humanity's development? What if the spiritual experiences and awakening processes described in traditions worldwide represent the activation of dormant, non-human DNA sequences within us? As we conclude this exploration, we're left with profound questions about our origins and potential. If significant portions of human DNA are indeed non-human in origin, what does this mean for our identity as a species? What dormant abilities might lie within our genetic code, awaiting activation? Perhaps most importantly, if our DNA contains elements of cosmic origin, are we in the process of a species-wide awakening as these dormant sequences activate? Is this the true meaning behind the increasing reports of spiritual awakening, enhanced intuitive abilities, and consciousness expansion occurring globally? The evidence suggests we are not merely terrestrial beings, but cosmic ones, with DNA that connects us to intelligence far beyond Earth. This perspective transforms how we understand ourselves and our place in the universe. It suggests that the feeling many people have of being starseeds or not fully belonging to this world may have a literal genetic basis. As you contemplate these possibilities, I invite you to observe your own life for signs of awakening DNA, inexplicable knowing, synchronicities, heightened intuition, or spontaneous abilities that seem to emerge from nowhere. These may be indicators of your cosmic heritage expressing itself. The truth about human origins appears to be far more extraordinary than conventional science acknowledges. We are beings of cosmic heritage, carrying within our DNA the legacy of intelligence beyond our world, intelligence that may now be calling us to remember who we truly are. What part of your consciousness feels most connected to the stars? What abilities might you possess that remain dormant within your DNA? And most importantly, if you discovered definitive proof that part of you is not from Earth, how would that change how you live your life? The answers may lie not in external evidence, but within the spiraling strands of your own remarkable DNA, waiting for you to recognize and reclaim your cosmic inheritance.